What is going on, guys? It is Campus Chronicles, the Big 12 episode. We're here, Coach Primetime and Dylan. This is a shorter episode for you guys because we care about audience retention. We're going to talk about our top 8, our bottom 8 for the Big 12. So we have records. We're just going to rapid fire here. Let's go like bottom tier. My bottom tier is 16 through 12. These are the teams I have winning 3 to 4 games, right? You tell me if you agree with them or not. I got BYU winning 3 games, right? I know you like them a lot. You say they're a good school. I don't. They have Gary Bohannon. I know you'll have something to say about him. I have Arizona State at 3-9. West Coast, not that good. Not a great quarterback play. They have a tough schedule. Their offense was bad. Cincinnati winning 4 games. To me, Cincinnati, another one of those teams, still not the same. They don't have Luke Fickell anymore. They have a tough schedule. I have them winning 4 games. I have Baylor winning 4 games. Same thing. It's just not going to be great over there in Waco. They don't score enough. Their defense isn't good enough. I don't like their coaching. Their quarterback is from Toledo. And then Houston at 4-8. So that's my bottom tier. That's my 12 through 16, those 4 to 3 win teams. A lot of them, funny enough, are the teams from the American or the new schools. In fact, all of them are. Houston, Baylor, Cincinnati, Arizona State, and BYU are all kind of those newer Big 12 schools. And those are kind of my bottom.
Baylor's not a new Big 12 school. What are you talking about?
The newer Big 12 schools. I know Baylor back in the day, but still, you get the idea. Houston, Cincinnati, Arizona State, BYU. Like those aren't.
You said Baylor,
but I know. Besides Baylor, these are the newer teams that jumped in to the Big 12. I don't have them doing anything or making a bowl game. So those are my 5 teams that aren't making a bowl game. What's your bottom tier?
Okay, so my bottom team is Baylor at 3-9, number 16 in the conference. By 15, we're not too far apart. Houston at 4-8, so very similar there. I have Colorado at 4-8. I do think Colorado, Dion, the hype is falling flat a little bit here. And year number 2, I have them at 4-8 as well. They got a tough schedule as well. Texas Tech, I have at 13. They're 6-6 though. 6-6, still bowl team. And BYU at 12. I have them at 6-6 as well. They're a bowl team. A lot of bowl teams here in the Big 12, but I do have them at 6-6. And then not too far behind, we'll get in, I guess, to start out with our number 11 team. Is that where we're beginning and going from there?
Yeah, just what's kind of your next tier? Like, what are other 6-win teams? Do you have any other 6-win teams?
I guess my next tier would probably be from 11 up to about 7, or maybe even 8. My number 11 is going to be Cincinnati, 11 or 6-6. You kind of hit it on the head. A team that's lost Luke Fickell. The culture is different. They're not the same team that they were when they made that big run into the Natty or into the college football playoff. My number 10 team, I have Kansas at 7-5. Tough schedule. They're going to be battling a little bit this year. I do think they're going to be very competitive, though, and everybody's going to really like them and their style of play. So I do have them at 7-5, though. Number 9, I have Kansas State, 6-6.
What is up with this guy?
I have them at 6-6. I do think that they will also struggle a little bit this year as well. And number 8, I have Iowa State at 7-5 as well. I do believe Iowa State will struggle a little bit, although they'll be competitive as well.
Oh my goodness! What? You just picked the 2 Kansas teams of his down. You know the 2 Kansas teams are like the best 2 teams in this conference.
I know.
Okay. That's a little insane to me.
I got 2 teams that I think are better.
So in that same kind of tier, so I have West Virginia at 6-6. You haven't mentioned them yet, so you obviously have them a bit better. I mean, West Virginia are kind of middle of the pack for me. I do want to talk about Colorado for a little bit. You have Colorado 4-8. I have them at 6-6. I think, you look at my name here, Deion Sanders, prime time. I'm a Colorado guy. They did change a lot of what they are. So Pat Shurmur is, he's going to be the offensive coordinator full time now. So I think there's going to be a bit more stability at Colorado this year. Are they going to come out of the gate like they did last year, beating TCU and Nebraska? I don't know. But really, for Colorado, their defense let them down a lot last year. This year, Colorado are just going to be more stable. And that's what I like about them. I don't have them winning a ton of games, obviously. 6-6 feels right, and like Dion's not going to be the coach here for too long. He's going to go to the NFL or he's going to get moved to some other team. But I have them at 6-6. I also have Texas Tech at 7-5. So you have them at 6-6. I have them at 7-5. We both like Texas Tech, it seems, at least to make a bowl game. They have a great running game. Taj Brooks had 1,000 yards after contact last year, by the way. The defense is kind of shaky. So I have them at 7-5. That would kind of be my tier there. Since you already mentioned your 8th school, I'll mention mine. It's TCU. They're a wild card team to me. I don't really rate TCU that much, especially after last year. You go to the national championship and then you really just fall like they did after losing Max Duggan. They probably will bounce back a bit this year, but I have them at 8th place. I just seriously cannot believe that you had both Kansas schools at this low. They're like the cream of the crop of the conference. That's like picking Georgia and Alabama to finish in the middle of the SEC. But okay, what's your next kind of tier? Your 8-win, 9-win teams, 8-win maybe?
Yeah, my 8-win, 9-win teams are my next tier. I have I'll go like 6, 7-4 are probably my 8.
Okay.
My next tier teams. Number 7, I have a UCF. I have them at 7-5. I think they're gonna be a really good team this year. I do think that they have a higher ceiling, in my opinion, but I do believe that they are going to be a really solid team here for the upcoming season in the Big 12. In regards to number 6, I have TCU. As you mentioned, I think they're a much more better team. I have them at 8-4. I think that they're going to be a team that will be battling for a potential top spot for a chance to be playing in the Big 12 championship. At number 5, you had this team low. I had this team high. I have high hopes for this team. I know you said they aren't very good. They haven't had a good year last year. Arizona State,
yeah.
8-4. I have them at. I do think that they are going to be a lot better than where you think they are. I do have a little bit more hope in them. I do think that
why is that exactly?
I think they improved on the offensive side of the ball. I think they actually got better on the offensive side of the ball. They got a decent amount of transfer portals, and they have a few interesting recruits that I'm excited to see. I don't know. I'm interested to see how ASU looks this year. I have some people that I know who maybe give me some inside scoops.
I have a 35% chance of making a bowl game, and you got them 5th in the conference. By the way, Kansas and Kansas State, 91% chance to win, and you have them at 10th and 11th. In fact, in terms of winning the conference, they have a combined 34% chance and a combined 50% chance to make the playoffs, and you have them winning 6 and 7 games. This guy is just – do you just not like the state of Kansas? Is that what it is? Got something against Kansas?
No.
Arizona State to me at 8-4. That seems a bit wild. Last year they were the worst offense if you were to add them to the Big 12, they'd be the worst offense. And let's put it this way: they scored 16 a game and they gave up 31. They had back-to-back 3-9 seasons. So that's why I was low on ASU, and I had them at 3-9 again.
I never got to my number 4.
You have them at 4?
I haven't gotten to my number 4 team.
Oh, okay.
My top tier. I have West Virginia 8-4 as well.
Okay. So we're both kind of similar on West Virginia. Like I said I'm at 6, bordering on 7. Like they're good. Like if West Virginia seems like a team that will be ranked if they start 2-0, that's kind of how I feel about them.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'll go through. This is kind of my 5 and 6, or really my 7 through 5. So Oklahoma State are my 7, and that might be a little low. But I have them winning 9 games. Like I have a lot of big win teams. Just like you have a lot of bowl eligible teams in Big 12. I have a lot of big win teams. Ollie Gordon, their running back, is probably the best running back in college football. He got a DUI, and Coach Mike Gundy said, "I don't care. I'm not suspending him." That's how important he is to the school. But they were kind of the peak last year of what they are. and I'm not sure that they can do that again. So you looked at an Oklahoma State team that was the peak of Oklahoma State. I don't know how much I like Bowman at quarterback either. So I have them at 9-3. I have UCF at 9-3. KJ Jefferson, who just came from Arkansas, obviously at quarterback. KJ Jefferson, and you have Gus Malzahn. It's very much like the Cam Newton Auburn situation. Last time Gus has had a quarterback like this was Cam Newton. So I'm very excited to see UCF. They're going to score 30-something points a game. The defense is just not going to be able to hold up. But I do have them at 6. Also, with the same amount of wins, would be Iowa State. Now, we saw Iowa State play against this team right here in the Cheez-It Bowl. We saw Brock Purdy and them play. Iowa State, obviously you haven't mentioned them yet, so they're in your top 4. Like Abu Sama at running back made all freshman teams. So Iowa State are going to have a very good rush attack. The defense doesn't really have a pass rush. That's what I don't like about this team. They did retain a lot of its talent, but they didn't have a pass rush. I think that's going to be real hurtful when they play teams like Kansas, who are obviously going to Kansas are probably going to have the best offense in the Big 12, and you didn't have them winning more than 6 games, or so you had 7 games. So, like, are they going to be able to do this against the big teams? I'm not sure. Number 4 for me is going to be Arizona then. So, like I said, I just mentioned Iowa State not being good enough on defense to handle Kansas, because Kansas are probably going to be the best offensive team. Like I said, you didn't have them at more than 7 wins. Arizona are going to be able to play defense, and that's why I have them at number 4, kind of rounding off this tier. I like Kansas a lot. Noah Fifta's a good quarterback. McMillan's a great receiver. They have a great 1-2 punch. Their offense was top 20 last year, and their defense was top 30. It's just, can they do it again? Because they had a lot of one-possession games. They could have been 6-6 last year, but they weren't. So that leaves my top 3 as the Kansas teams in Utah. You are in your top 3. It's Utah, Iowa State, Arizona.
Yep.
Okay, so no, like I said, you just
no
State
Utah, Oklahoma State, Arizona. My top 3.
Okay, yeah. Arizona was your 5. Okay, so who is not making the championship game? Who's your number 3?
Arizona.
You have Arizona at 5.
I have Arizona at 3.
Oh, you have Arizona State at 5. That's right. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, so what's their record?
10-2.
10-2, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm trying the same way. I have them at 9. I think
they're got a really good season this year.
I think they could, for sure. Like I said, I just mentioned their 1-2 punch. Like I said, if you're top 20 offense, top 20 defense, like, that's elite.
It's Utah's conference to lose this year.
I would argue that it's the state of Kansas conference to lose. But speaking of which, my 3rd team, which is not making the conference championship.
They lost Will Howard this year. So that's going to be a big adjustment.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's fine.
So what?
It's fine. They have Avery Johnson. It's probably better. I have Kansas at 3. So Kansas are not going to be in the championship game. Kansas, Jalen Daniels, if he could stay healthy, Kansas are going to win the conference. Last year, they scored 40 points a game with him. So, obviously, you score 40 points a game in the Big 12, you're going to win a lot of games. That's why Kansas were there. Kansas are the highest-rated team in the Big 12. So, I would say it's Kansas conference to lose, but I just think the defense is probably going to let them down. And I don't know if Jalen Daniels can stay healthy full time. So that means you have Oklahoma State, Utah in the championship?
No, Utah and Oklahoma State.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you said Arizona State.
No.
Oh, yes, Utah and Oklahoma State. I have Utah going 12-0.
Really?
And then I have them beating Oklahoma State.
Okay. Explain.
I think Utah's going to be a good team this year. I'm very high on Utah this year. I think they have all the players needed to make a run this year in the Big 12.
That's great insight here by Dylan Spalding. For someone who actually pays attention to college football, I'll tell you why.
I pay attention to college football.
Okay, then why do you have Kansas and Kansas State at 6 wins and 7 wins?
It's a gut feeling.
Kansas State are ranked the 15th. The ranks just came out. The 22nd.
They're going to lose a few games this year.
Yeah, you have them losing as many as they win.
Okay, but they're at least bowl eligible.
I have Kansas State going 10-2. They beat UT Barton. They beat Tulane. They beat Arizona. They beat BYU. They beat Oklahoma State. I have them losing to Colorado. I have them beating Kansas. I have them losing to Iowa State. I don't know. Like, we're gonna go back to these episodes where you have 2-10 UCLA. You have You have 5-7 Miami. You have both Kansas teams combining for 13 wins. When there's a good chance that they'll have 13 combined wins by week 8. I have them combining for 20 wins. So I have Utah and Kansas State in the final. They both go 10-2. Here's the thing. I have Kansas State and Utah in the final, but Utah win the Big 12 because Cam Rising is back. You looked at what they did last year with a injured Cam Rising and an injured team, and they were still good. Last year, though, they only threw for 162 yards a game. That will not repeat with Cam Rising at quarterback, obviously. So I know you feel the same way about Utah. You have them going undefeated. So that means, but Utah probably your 2 seed behind Georgia, right? Because you said Georgia undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably throwing Utah at your 2 seed. I believe I threw Utah at my 3. I'm not sure. I'll look back at that because I've already done them. But Kansas State, Utah, I really like that final a lot. Kansas State have a lot to like about them. I said Avery Johnson at quarterback is going to be very good. It's fine they lost Will Howard. Avery Johnson is just as good. They got Dylan Edwards from Colorado. They scored 37 a game last year. Their defense is going to be great. It could easily be an all-Kansas Big 12 final. I know you don't agree with that at all. I guess, yeah, it probably is Utah's conference to lose. But, like, there's definitely going to be a Kansas team in the Big 10 or Big 12 championship. So, yeah, I like my picks a lot. I mean, Utah, Kansas State, Kansas, Arizona, those are kind of the 4 teams that are going to probably make the playoffs. I won't tell you who made the playoffs until we get to that episode, but those were kind of the 4 teams that were in contention for the Big 12. I mean, what else do you like about Oklahoma State to get them that far but lose to Utah?
I think that they are a good program. Mike Gundy has always built that program to be a really favorable team in the Big 12, and I think that this year is no exception. I think that this is a team that's going to be pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I had them at 7, but the same amount of wins as Arizona in 4th. So you could easily have them at 4. We kind of feel the same way. I mean, we're pretty similar on our Big 12. I would just say Arizona State, you kind of have way overrated. Maybe that could be wrong. I don't know. We're very similar on UCF and Iowa State. Really, the big difference here is that you're very, very low on the Kansas teams compared to me and the rest of the universe that has the Kansas teams competing for the Big 12 championship while you have them.
Well, hey, I'm just going to say this right now. They may not know as much as we do. So
okay. Obviously, you have your inside sources.
People that I know, if you know that.
Yeah, and obviously, smart ones are not them. So, yes, this was a shorter episode, guys. We had some time constraints. Next episode will be a longer one because we're going to go through the out-of-conference. We're going to give who we have making the playoffs from the out-of-conference school. We're going to talk about maybe 10 to 15 out-of-conference schools that are going to compete for the playoff spot, and then we'll probably throw in who we did that. And then the next week after that is going to be the big bowl projection and playoff episode, and that's going to lead us right into the season where we'll start doing the live streams to talk about the weeks. But I think that's it. You got anything else for us?
Yeah, but like college game day on here. Campus Chronicles game day.
Yeah.
Although we can't do it on Saturday, though. What are we going to do?
No, it's going to be a Sunday thing, probably. Sunday or Monday. But then we can go through the game.
So the first week we have games on a Sunday.
We do. That's right.
Except, well, week 0, I guess, is the first week technically.
Yeah, we don't count that.
It's still well. It's not even a week. It's a 0. There's no week.
It's nil. Doesn't exist. Just like Florida State's chances of winning that game.
Yes. All right. Well, everybody, this has been good. Obviously, we had the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC, and the SEC. Before we let everybody go, again, want to give a big shout out to our friends at City Garage Motorsports for their constant support and our support over at City Garage Motorsports. Give them a shout over at City Garage with Stuart Weiss and Jason Smith over there running the things with their ARCA Menard Series team. They will be racing at Toledo in October on the 5th, so definitely tune into their next race as they get their ARCA Menards team up and going, and obviously we're big supporters of that, right, Chris? You're a big City Garage fan.
My values are not the same as the program. Thank you.
Fair enough. Anyways, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. I can't believe you say that. We love you, City Garage. We love you.
Let's go, every team except City Garage. In fact, I prefer City Garage, actually.
Garage. All right. Well, anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week for the big show. The playoffs will be out next week. Thanks, guys. Peace.